Today we're going to look at the 3.1 summary. If you haven't already, please go and watch the 3.1 full-length video that's also on Edmodo and YouTube. In this unit we're looking at the lead up to the Civil War and the causes of the Civil War. We've already talked about some of the causes, one of which was U.S. expansion. As we expanded to the West, the tensions over whether the new states would be slave or free led to a lot of tension between the North and the South. The South became determined to maintain and expand slavery, and the North became determined to limit slavery's expansion, which is then going to lead to the Civil War and is the main cause of the Civil War. One goal of the U.S. government is to maintain a balance of power during this time period between the North and the South. Some of those important events in the balance of power were the Missouri Compromise, which maintained the balance of power by Missouri coming in as a slave state and Maine coming in as a free state, and then setting a line, the 32-30, where only slave states would be below that line and free states above that line. This, of course, does not solve the problem. There's going to be more tension, like the annexation of Texas, when Texas comes in as a slave state, and that causes trouble. And then once we get all that new territory, the Wilmot Proviso is passed in the House, but it fails in the Senate. And that said that all the land from the new territories would be free. And then when California comes in as a free state, and then the debate over whether California would be free or slave. And then the Compromise of 1850, which made nobody happy. California came in as a free state, and then they also passed a more stringent Fugitive Slave Act and said there would be no slave trade in Washington, D.C. But like I said, it made nobody happy, and it's going to lead to more and more tension between the areas. Another point of tension was the abolition movement. They even had a new political party called the Liberty Party, which was against slavery. It caused the South to become even more defensive about slavery, even though a lot of people in the North really are not trying to get rid of slavery. The action of those abolitionists were significant, but it was ultimately the controversy over the spread of slavery to the territory that's going to lead to secession, war, and in the end, abolition. One solution that emerges is popular sovereignty and the idea of free soil. Popular sovereignty is where people are going to vote on whether that territory is going to be slave or free. So in Kansas, they're going to vote on whether they're going to have slavery or not have slavery. And what's going to happen, though, is a lot of people are going to rush to Kansas, and there's going to be a lot of violence before that vote. And that's going to be called Bleeding Kansas. The Republican Party is also created around that time, and they believe in free soil, not abolition, but free soil. And what that means is that all the new territory will be free and not have slavery. Another event that's going to cause more problems is the Dred Scott decision. This was a decision by the Supreme Court which said that all past compromises were unconstitutional and that all further compromises would be impossible. What it said was the Missouri Compromise was unconstitutional, and even though Dred Scott, who was a slave, went to a free territory, he was still considered a slave. So this was a blow to abolitionists and free soilers and really helped the South. So the Supreme Court was kind of on the side of the South. The final straw for the South was the election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860. The Democrat Party was split along sectional lines and ran a couple different candidates, and as a result, Abraham Lincoln won because the Democratic vote was split. The South's really not going to like it because Abraham Lincoln's not even on the ballot in the South. And the South thought that Abraham Lincoln was going to end slavery, and so they decided that they're going to leave the country rather than risk Abraham Lincoln taking away some of their rights, their state's rights. And so most of the South had actually already left to form a new country before his inauguration even happened. And that's when the Civil War will have started. That concludes section 3.1 summary. Please go to watch the full video of this section. Also go to Edmodo to take the video quiz and turn in the notes guide. Thank you.